Hello everyone. This time we're going to be moving over to Ancient Callouts, and guess what, guys? Got a new friend. Say hello to bot Yuri. I'm going to be using him to demonstrate where most people will be holding each callout, so you know where to expect enemies of said callout. I think this will help the video flow better, and also give a more realistic idea of what you should expect. So, he's going to be my little demonstrator for today. Anyways, starting off with T-spawn, it's this watery area here. Uh, you know, Most people prefer to call it, yo, where's my FPS? This area is called Split, just to the left of T-spawn here, and presumably it is because of this sign here that indicates that this is a crossroad between the A bomb site, which goes over there, and the B bomb site, which goes over there, indicating that it's a split in the road. When this callout gets mentioned, you might see a common angle right over there, holding this area. And this is another common spot that an enemy might be holding when you hear the callout split. Moving on over, this area is called A main, as in it's the main way to get to the A bomb site. Remember, it has these two little lanes, so try not to forget that. Obviously, when A main gets called, you will be a CT that is expecting an A push, so expect enemies anywhere within this doorway. Anything is fair game. Moving on to the actual bomb site itself, we got a little clustered area over here, so I'm just going to do them all at once. This is big box, as in it's the biggest box of the bomb site. That over there is called platform because of this raised area right over here. You can also call it pizza because it's a triangular slice, but I don't think you should call it pizza. Just stick to platform. And this building over here is called temple. Here's a common area someone might hold platform. Here's a common area someone might be holding big box. And here's a common area that someone might be holding temple. This area is the A bomb site, indicated by this yellow tape here. And in case you guys didn't know, this is actually the boundaries where you can place the bomb or plant the bomb. From what I researched, this little alleyway seems to be called street or lane, but most of the time in my matchmaking games, whenever someone calls out this area, usually it's referred to as CT spawn, as in it's the area that people come in from CT spawn. Now, obviously, the problem you might be thinking is, well, there's two ways people can come from CT spawn to the A bomb site. Well, that's because this area is already called temple, so you might as well just call this CT spawn. But please do take that with a grain of salt. That is just from my experiences of playing matchmaking in Premiere. I am only 16k rating and I play in NA servers. Oh, and right before I forget, this might be a common angle that someone holds, or they could be coming from that doorway over there. Anywhere is pretty much fair game. Just make sure when someone calls out CT or lane, you're prepared to have a gunfight from any one of these positions. Moving on, this entire area, this indoors area, is called Donut because from a topography view, this room looks like a donut because it's a circular shape with a hole in the middle. There's a lot of angles you can expect an enemy from within this callout, but the most common is probably right over here on the right side of Donut, of this big pillar right over here. Because most of the time, it will be the A player rotating over through Donut, as my fine assistant Yuri is demonstrating over here. They most likely take the path through here and just end up in somewhere in this position to hold this angle, peeking out into mid. Of course, if you are pushing through the Donut callout, make sure you do check all of your corners because the player holding this corner over here is quite well hidden until you get very close to the engagement. Now that we have A site covered, might as well move on to CT spawn, which is this giant area over here. It's a common save spot, so make sure you are wary of enemies when you're coming through here. Now, a very cheeky angle that someone can hold here, as you might not expect, is right behind you actually. This corner is more than wide enough to hide a player from people coming in through this area right over here. And I say this because I usually hold this angle with a taser. Now this area, there's three different callouts you can call it. All of them make complete sense and have merits of their own. First off, you can call this house if you really want to, because of the resemblance of a house I suppose, you know, it's pretty homey. I'd live here. You can also call this red room due to the walls being reddish in color, although I'd argue this is more orange than red, but I've been called colorblind before. Another thing you can call this is top mid, which is all fair enough. Every single one of these callouts have their merits. It is kind of a housey feel. It's got a roof above the head, doors and such. It's got red walls, so it's, red room. And also, it's just the top of mid, as in it's the highest elevation of the mid callout. A very common spot held is either on the right or left corner of red room, depending on which one. It is also very possible that they might be holding from deep inside of red room, as the steps over there allow you to hold at a higher vantage point than expected. So do expect the players that are holding deep inside this room. And as mentioned before, this is the middle of the map, so it's called mid, the most intuitive it can get. And this area, actually, a little bit less intuitive, is kind of forgotten, actually. I can't recall a singular time in matchmaking where I called this position. That might be because I don't play Ancient a lot, but, then again, maybe no one has a name for this yet, but I've heard it being called jungle. I've heard it being called pit. The reason why someone might call this pit is because it reminds them of the pit callout from Dust 2, a little nod to previous episodes. And they might call it jungle due to the vines and the trees and the general gist that jungle in Counter-Strike refers to these little far off areas that are kind of hidden from the main call out, let's just say. Kind of looks like a small compartment next to the main area. As you might expect, the most common position you would hold pit from is quite deep inside there, because you're trying to hide from all the people coming through mid. This area over here is a catwalk. Say it with me, because it's a walkway that is elevated from the surface. And when I say this area, I mean it extends all the way over to this line right over here. So this entire area is also catwalk. Do make sure to remember that. Obviously, you should expect players to be anywhere in catwalk, but this might be a common angle that you might have to check for when you hear the call out that they're cat. Another possibility is that they could be pushing up cat. So make sure you expect players to be there when you're jumping up on top of these boxes, and be mindful that there might be enemies over there. And of course, this area is called lower mid because it's at the lower part of mid, as in the opposite side of top mid. And as a little killing two birds with one stone, here's a common angle that they might hold. This is in fact a very common angle that they might be holding, because usually as a CT side player, this area will be smoked off, meaning that usually the Ts will be waiting right in that corner, as I showed, or they will opt to instead rush through the smoke. Either one, give or take. We are now going to go to the third hotspot of the map, which is the B bomb site. Starting back at T-spawn, this area is called tunnels. I hope it's very clear why it's tunnels. This area is called ruins, preferably because of all the loose stone and rubble around here. Most likely from this wall over here. A common angle that someone might hold is behind the cover of this small box right over here. It is also entirely possible that they might be holding either one of these corners, as it gives ample amounts of space for cover. So if you're playing against me, do expect me to be posted up here with a taser, ready to punish you if you were to get ambitious, Going further and further into the bomb site, this is going to be B main, as it's the main way to get to the B bomb site. It can cover this entire area over here, and a small subsection of this area right over here can either be called wood, because of the wood surface right over here, or you can call it wallbang, because, as you might guess, this area is wallbangable. As you can see, the bullet holes clearly penetrates through here, right like this. I think generally it's pretty clear where you might see enemies in the B main area. I mean, obviously there's going to be running up either onto site, or they're going to be making their way all the way over to the cat callout, or they might be rushing in through that callout over there. And as for wallbang, they're going to be holding this close corner. As for this entire area, you can call this cave, because it's a little cave area. Looks like a cave entrance. And as for common angles that someone might be holding, they could be holding this close angle over here, this close angle over here. They could be holding it from that door over there. They could be holding it from this corner over here. And the most uncommonly checked spot is that corner over there that you might have missed. And obviously this entire area is the B bomb site. As suggested by this blue line over here, this is where you can plant the bomb. And as for this big stone wall over here, the left side of it is going to be called short, and the right side of it is going to be called long, because as a CT, when you're retaking the B bomb site, this is clearly the shorter way to get to the bomb site. Meanwhile, this longer side, which is called long, is the detour over to the B bomb site. Of course, it's pretty clear what positions you might expect enemies from. It's these little close corners over here. You might expect someone over there too, and obviously someone at the big box over here. And another very important thing to note is that on the long side of this big platform is that if two CTs were to boost on top of each other, like so, the player on top can get a pretty nice op angle deep into B main. So do be wary of that when you're pushing into site. And to top it all off, you can call this area over here leading up to short and long either CT spawn, as in it's kind of close to CT spawn, or if you really want to get fancy with it, you can call it alleyway. Thank you guys very much for watching this far into the video. So the final trick I'm going to teach you is that you can jump from here onto here and get up onto this platform here, which is called tree, by the way. I hope it's obvious why it's called tree. And it gives you a nice little angle to hold if you have an MP9 or a shotgun in your hand. Happy hunting. And how could I forget the most important call out? He's over there, he's over there, he's over there, he's over there, he's over there. Oh my god, he's over there.